We're so excited to be back with you today on the Goodnight Shop podcast. We have some exciting topics, and I have some great advice columns picked out for us today. So we're excited to be with you.
Yes.
What do we want to start with?
We can start. Do you want to roll the die?
Yeah, absolutely.
Roll it, roll it. We're going to get a better die eventually.
Well, if we need to. We're going to start with the advice column. All right. Do you want to go first today?
You can go first.
Okay, fantastic. So, let me get my very sophisticated from my phone notes here. I love this one. You'll appreciate this one.
I'm excited.
How can I explain to the person I'm dating that I love bombed them because of my ADHD and now they actually give me the ick?
That hits
Same.
That hits home. That totally hits home. I have ADHD. I've had it since I was a little kid. Diagnosed since I was a little kid. And I get it, right? From friendships to people that you're romantically interested in, you become hyper-focused on them.
Yes.
Which is a typical characteristic of ADHD, right? So you become hyper-focused. And then after a few months, that excitement, that dopamine rush goes away. And you're like, maybe it's not as exciting as I thought. So, first thing I think is you have to, as somebody who has ADHD, recognize that that's how your brain works. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just how you were programmed.
Yeah.
And so you have to recognize those things so that you don't love bomb someone that you don't like, right? Because then you're really just setting yourself up for success, for failure, for disappointment, and you're setting that other person for disappointment and to be completely blindsided because you were just love bombing them for the last 6 months.
Right.
So I would say recognize that you are going to get a little overexcited at the beginning of the relationship, and there's a lot of people who don't have ADHD who also relate to this. Get to know the person, right? Get to know whether or not you like that person in reality. Because then you can have a very different conversation. You can say, hey, I know I was really intense at first. That's just how I am. And now I've calmed down a little bit, but I still like you. I still want to work on the relationship. Yeah. I still, right? Because again, even if you don't have ADHD, the beginning of a relationship is always the most exciting part. And then it's less exciting and it's a lot of work. Right? Regardless of who you are, regardless of gender, age, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
Relationships are hard. And so I would say have that conversation if you like the person. However, the fact that this person used the word ick.
Yes.
Makes me feel like maybe you didn't like them that much and you were really more so attracted to the excitement of getting to know somebody new.
The idea, right? I can, same thing, totally relate to this. I think I'd like to pretend some of it is immaturity and age and everything, but I think it's just human nature, too.
I agree.
And I think a lot of us, I do think ADHD multiplies, compounds the issue. But I think a lot of us just get really excited, jump in. It's always a joke, like, oh, I go on a first date, and now I'm thinking about my wedding with that person, right? Like, you just jump in, both feet, and all of a sudden everything calms down and wears off, and you're like, But I mean, the good thing is, if there can be a good thing from that, is that you said that it was only a few months in. So, you know, maybe that person has ADHD too and love bombed you and is feeling the same way, right? Let's hope. But I think, just a few months in, cut and run. You know, it's part of it. It's part of dating. It's part of the relationship experience.
And you don't have to explain it.
You don't.
You don't have to explain it. Just like you don't have to explain in any relationship that you're in, especially when it's a few months in. You can just be like, hey, you know, I thought this was going to work out, but at the end of the day, it's not working out for me. I like you as a person. I just don't see myself moving forward with you. Yeah. You don't have to explain that you have ADHD. You don't have to explain that you were love bombing. But for yourself, keep that in check.
Yeah.
The next time.
I agree, totally. Like, just acknowledge it as a self-acknowledgement and maybe recognize those symbols, those signals ahead of time the next time that you jump into something.
Agreed.
Yeah. Tough.
I know. And it's so funny because it ties so nicely with my topic today. So my topic is a 33-year-old woman is writing in, and she says, I'm married to a 44-year-old, and I'm wondering, am I mothering him because my love language is acts of service? Right?
Oh.
Right. And so in the little bit of information that she provides, she shares that she has been told by her friends, like, hey, like, this is way too much, right? So in the little blurb, she says, like, hey, I work part-time. My spouse has a really difficult job. It's really stressful. And so when he comes home, I just try to make things lighter for him. So I get home 4 hours before he does. So I'll clean the house. I'll make sure that, dinner is ready. When he comes home, I'll serve his dinner. And, I'll do little things like hear him vent about work because I know it's a stressful job. I will, this part I don't necessarily agree with, but she said, I'll give up some of my own physical needs up for him. And so specifically they're talking about, the romantic aspects of the relationship where maybe she is, not how can I say this, demanding or not even mentioning that, hey, I'm unfulfilled and I need you to step up your game in this particular department. And so she's not doing that because she doesn't want to kind of rock the boat. And so her friends are saying, like, hey, you're giving up too much, you're giving too much. And so she wonders, am I mothering my husband because my love language is acts of service? So what do you think?
So I think, I mean, did she say anything about what he does for her in there?
Good point. It doesn't sound like a lot.
Like anything.
It sounds like he is more like the financial provider. I know, but she does say, hey, I have a small part-time job. He's the one that provides everything financially. And so I'm kind of like a part-timer. And then, and it doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like she's against taking care of him. Like she's against wanting to love on him and treat him right. I think there's just a couple of things that she maybe wishes were a little better.
Yeah, I think if that's her love language, then she probably is, in fact, fulfilled by doing those things to some extent and enjoys it and probably loves being the one that provides that way at the home for him, which I think is really sweet. And I think if they're feeling like they're both getting what they need from it, that's one thing. But I will say it comes back to that communication for me. Like if you don't feel comfortable telling your spouse, hey, I'm not happy with XYZ are not going to ever change and
They're
definitely
never gonna get better.
Definitely never get better. And especially I think like the big takeaway there is especially if he doesn't know. So while I think probably not a 50-50 split, I think if she sees the job and the stress and the financial impact as taking, kind of
that he's bringing in.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. He brings that in and provides that. And so she provides in other ways. I think if you're both getting what you need from it, that would be one thing. The mothering piece, though, this is such a common issue. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of women feel like they are playing mother to their spouse. And I think a lot of it has to do with sons and moms, right? Like sons and moms have special relationships. Okay. And a lot of the times, moms will baby their boys. I think. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's a joke and everything about boy moms and how they are coddled a little bit. And typically you'll see in like traditional households like that, women and moms providing and cooking and cleaning, and then their sons and husbands kind of just being delivered and receiving all of this. And I think that absolutely carries into their marriage. Unfortunately, because I mean, I think it goes back to what are you okay giving up, and do you have some standards you have some boundaries that you're going to hold yourself and your spouse to?
So much there. I couldn't agree more. I recently watched an Instagram reel, and it was a lady. It was probably some kind of soundbite, but it was like, moms say, oh, raising boys is so much easier than raising girls. And then the response was, yeah, if you're having their girlfriend or wife have to do the mothering.
Exactly.
Right? So meaning like you did everything for your husband, you did everything for your son, and now somebody else is marrying that man and they don't know how to clean for themselves. They don't know how to take care of themselves, and they're waiting for their spouses to come in and clean.
Right.
I'll say I agree with you in that if she wasn't fulfilled by that, if she was writing in as a, I'm pissed because my husband doesn't help, I'm it bothers me that he doesn't pitch in as much as I pitch in, that would be a different conversation, but that wasn't the tone of the advice asking at all. It was more like, my friends are pointing out that I am mothering. My friends are saying that I'm doing too much. And I say, forget about what your friends say. Because they're not a part of the relationship.
That's right.
If you like taking care of your spouse and, right, like we have a friend that likes to draw a bath for her husband. Mm-hmm. And when I first heard that, I was like, that's weird. And then I thought, that is so sweet that they share that moment, that they share that thing together. And it's not anywhere in my purview to judge, to critique. Like, that's their thing. And if she likes to take care of her man that way, like, who am I to tell her that that's wrong?
Yeah.
Right?
I agree, exactly. As soon as you start letting your friends, and especially family, and I'm thinking of mother-in-laws, give their opinion on your marriage and your relationship, like, you have to really take a step back for yourself and realize they are not in the marriage. You are in the marriage. So you need to find those boundaries and set those guidelines and just decide what you're willing to put up with and willing to deal with. And if you're happy, don't let them tell you you shouldn't be happy.
And if there is something you're not happy about, bring it up.
Yeah.
Bring it up, right? If your person, right? Like if your person is going to talk a lot about the negatives of their work, say, hey baby, I want to hear all about it, but we can't talk about it for 5 hours because now I feel like I'm drowning in your problems too. Like I want to hear you, I want to support you, but I don't want to drown with you, right? So let's talk about it and then let's turn the page and talk about lighter things, talk about better things. And in the bedroom, regardless of who you are, if you are with someone and you are sharing each other's bodies with one another, you absolutely should both be getting something from it.
Oh, yes.
Right? I have friends who have shared with me that they've been having relations with their partners for years and have never had any kind of satisfaction from it. And I'm like,
you're doing it wrong.
You are absolutely and a champ, man. I maybe not in the best light, but the fact that you have continued having relations with this person,
oh my gosh,
even though they have not satisfied you, I don't understand why you would keep doing it with that person, stay with that person, and not say anything to that person.
That is what is wild to me, that they just continue to, and of course, again, if you continue to accept it, nothing's going to change. They're like, perfect, I'm getting away with the bare minimum, I'm going to do the bare minimum.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And
crazy.
If you don't mention it, also, they may never know there was a problem, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I'm going to share a story. When I was younger, I dated somebody, and I dated them for very long, and after we broke up, I was having a conversation with my mother. I'm very, very close to my mom. And we were talking, and she was like, well, what about, XYZ? And I was like, for however long we were together, I never climaxed. I never had a good moment.
You never had an orgasm?
Never, not once, not with that person. And we were together for years. And my mother was like,
literally.
She was like, why did you stay with that person for so long?
Seriously.
Right?
Yeah.
And I, because you feel like, well, maybe there's something wrong with me. I don't want to make the other person feel a sort of way. But here's the thing. I think about that today. And I think if that person heard me, they would be like, she ain't talking about me.
Right? They had no idea. No idea. And can I just say, too, you're really doing a disservice to the next partner. Like,
To yourself, the next partner,
to yourself
absolutely.
and the next partner. No one's going to tell the next person. But I agree. My mom, absolutely, we had those conversations and she was like, people don't say it enough, but the sex matters. It is important, especially if you are considering spending your life with that person. It matters. Right. It matters if they are good. And they may not be good for you, right? Like, that doesn't mean they're never going to find their person, but it's like you have got to connect that way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you have to be able to communicate.
That's the biggest thing.
Sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember, I know we're going on a tangent, but we're going to keep it going. I remember talking to this guy at work, and he really liked one of the girls that we worked with. And he was talking about, like, who he was in a relationship. And I don't know why he felt so comfortable talking to me about it, but it happens, and he was. And then he started talking about how, you know, with his girlfriends, you know, he was a gentleman and a lover. And if he needed to get anything freaky out of his system, he would go, you know, somewhere else for that. Right? And I thought, how unfortunate. Why wouldn't you want to marry the person you do your freaky stuff with? Right? Like, if that's what brings you joy, if that's what makes you happy... That's what you need.
That's what you need.
That's what you need. And so if you're in a relationship, and I'm going to talk to women in particular, if you're in a relationship and your partner doesn't do things to you that they expect you to do to them, like, we need to revisit this conversation and say, hey, I'm going to be so happy to do that to you, but the girl needs some attention too.
Me first.
Me first, and then I'm going to take care of you. Because at the end of the day, right? If you are, oh, well, it's okay, we don't have to do it this time. And, oh, it's okay, we don't have to do it this time. And that happens and happens and happens. Then it's 10 years and she ain't getting the attention she needs.
Yeah. Okay. All right. My next one then.
Okay.
What should I do when an acquaintance with dementia sends me unsolicited graphic text messages and then tells people we're sexting?
Damn. That's hard.
That's so
because my heart instantly went out to the person with dementia.
I know.
Instantly.
I know.
But then the cynic in me went, how do we know he has dementia?
Are they using that?
Are they using that as an excuse?
Personally, I have had loved ones with dementia, and they are not thinking of that. Of sex.
Well, and I also, like, if they have dementia, and I'm not a medical professional, so I could be talking complete nonsense, right? But, like...
How old?
No, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say they're sexting you, sending you graphic text messages, and then having the cognitive ability to remember that they're sexting you and telling other people that you guys are sexting. How bad is the dementia? Right?
Right.
Now, regardless of whether the person has dementia or any other kind of condition, it does not matter. If you do not want to receive those text messages, you are 1,000% within your right to text that person and say, hey, I'm uncomfortable with what you're sending me. I would really appreciate you to stop.
I agree.
And if they don't, you can block them.
I agree, especially because it says an acquaintance. So it's like, block them. If you're not friends with them. And then I think if you are in a close-knit circle where everybody knows who's saying this and you know who's saying this, then I think everybody will know, like, oh, that's not true. They don't know what they're talking about. That's not real.
But the acquaintance, I'm thinking, is this at work? Because if it's at work, this is completely inappropriate and you need to report it. Because you're probably also not the only one getting the pictures you don't want to get or the text messages that you don't want to get.
That's true. Yeah, I think anytime you're getting the messages, regardless of unsolicited, unwanted messages in graphic nature, regardless of, to your point, status, health situation, anything, you are still within your rights to absolutely set that boundary and block them and be like, no, this ain't it. And then depending on what the situation is, if it's at work, going to your supervisor, or if it's within your friend group, like just clearing the air, like, hey, so-and-so said this, it got back to me, I just want you all to know that's not true, like depending on who they are telling, I would address it. I would address it with the group and just make sure everyone knows. But
I wouldn't even care.
God,
right? We talked about this before, like other people's opinions or their opinion and not your problem. Right? But I would absolutely address it with the person that let me know that this was going on and the person that's sending the inappropriate messages. Like, this ain't cool. You can't do this. You can say that.
You're in a relationship and your spouse hears it. And then you're
that's
like...
True.
And then,
That's
of course,
true.
I mean, if someone...
I don't even know what you're about to say.
If Donovan came to me and I found some message and he's like, no, it's my acquaintance with dementia, I'd be like, bitch, get out of here.
Right? Like, I don't believe you for a second.
Yes.
You were enjoying those text messages.
Yeah, exactly. Depends on the situation.
Exactly.
All right, do you have one more for us?
I do. And this one's kind of a funky one, but I think it ties in very beautifully with a bit of the conversation we've been having about boundaries, right? Setting your boundaries, being comfortable with your boundaries. This one's a little weird, but 14-year-old girl, 15-year-old girl writes in and says, hey, my mom has been staying in my room for the last 4 years. Right? My dad is a heavy, heavy snorer, and one day she just randomly came to my room, slept in my bed with me, and now it's been 4 years, and she still does it. There's a caveat to this story that makes it extra icky.
Oh, because it's already icky.
It's already icky. Because she sleeps naked. So the mom sleeps naked with her in the bed, and she's like, and it's gotten to this point where I'm so uncomfortable with it that I'm actually sleeping on the floor of my room because of the whole scenario. I'll stop there. I want your thoughts before I chime in.
Oh my gosh. Wow. It's amazing to me how people are so unself-aware, like so little self-awareness. I really sympathize for this young girl because the fact that you have to talk to your mother about that at all sucks. But I don't even know where to go with that. I mean, so many levels of you need to tell your mom and explain to her and she's 15. It's
like a boundary there where
I was gonna say that's so hard because it's like if you try to be an adult about it and go to her and be like, I want to tell you that this is making me uncomfortable. I'm a young woman. I need my own space. She's going to be like, no, you're my child.
Yeah.
I think it sounds like the mom really has so little respect for her daughter and her space that a conversation like that would not be conducive to a solution. I don't think it would get the results that she wants because to me, it sounds like the mom doesn't respect her and her privacy in her space. Mm-hmm. So that's really hard. And the on top of that, it makes me think if you're already sleeping on the floor and your mom is still like, this works for me, that's fine. It's like, how clueless can you be?
I have the biggest problem with the naked part.
Because
if my mom came to my room and was like, your dad is snoring up a storm, like, I'm gonna sleep here with you,
I'd be like, hop in.
I wouldn't even have a second thought.
Same.
But if then she took off her pajama, I'd be like, I would 100%, again, I said this earlier, I have a fantastic relationship with my mom, so I'd be like, what the fool are you doing? What are you doing?
I'd be like, put that Merkin away.
Exactly. I'd be like, Ma, this too much. Too much. Put that moo back on, and then you can come back into the bed. But this is not gonna work. Otherwise, put that moo back on.
Oh my gosh, it's so flippant. That's just true. I mean, I too have a very open relationship with my mom. I could talk to her about anything. She drives me nuts in all the best ways. I love her in all the best ways, and I'm sure she would say the same about me. So I feel like I could say something. And I'm even trying to remember. I mean, I do remember you know, being a teenager or preteen or whatever, and having my mom like come in and we'd sit and talk or whatever, and she'd fall asleep. And I remember being annoyed, like, now she's in my bed. But like I can't remember, or I can't imagine for years.
Years? That was the other thing.
Years.
Like, if my mom came one day and she was like, "Oh, your dad has a sinus infection, so his snoring is crazy," I'd be like, "Come right in."
Right.
Right? Even today as an adult, if my wife wasn't home, I'd be like, "Come right in."
Sure.
Right? But if she was like, "Oh no, this is where I sleep now.
This is my bedroom
I'd be
now.
like, "No, it's not."
Yeah, I know. That is just
it's
really
different.
A rock and a hard place.
It is. Because we're older.
Yeah.
So we have a different dynamic with our parents now where they're not paying our bills and they're not really taking care of us the way they used to when we were 15. I think that you still have your own autonomy to your body and to your space, right? It may be their house, but it's still your little bit of space. Yeah. And though she is welcome, right? I'm Latin, so that whole lock the door and this you're not welcome here, that wouldn't fly with my family. Right. But you can come in and out of my room, but it's still my room. It's still my space. And if you don't feel comfortable having that boundary, setting that boundary up with your mom and having that conversation with her, maybe having it with your dad if you feel a little more comfortable being like, "Hey dad, can you take your wife back?"
Yeah.
I carried this for 4 years. Can you take her back for the next 3? I'm going to college, and then
you can
she
split
can
up
take
the
my
bedroom.
room. Yeah, then y'all can have different bedrooms. But
yeah, I
would really appreciate it, especially at my age, to have a little more privacy, if I can.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna mention if she could talk to her dad about it, but I think at a minimum, if you don't want to have those conversations with either of them to be like, "Yo, I need my space back," I think at a minimum you need to say you have to sleep with pajamas on. You need
at a minimum
the moo-moo. You need
to go get your moo-moo.
Go get your moo-moo.
Yeah, and no ticket.
Because at a minimum, that is what we need to be doing here.
Yeah.
I
when I read that one, I was like, that's a head scratcher.
Some parents,
especially because when I read it, I was like, okay. Then I got to the naked part, and I was like, okay.
Oh my god,
we're adding this one to the mix.
Parents, and also I wonder, are you an only child? Could your sibling take a break? You know, could you share custody of mom for a minute? Like
Absolutely.
that would be nice.
Absolutely.
To split it up.
And to the parents listening, let's remember that our children are developing and that we don't want to create inappropriate expectations, right? Because now your daughter, who has been sleeping with a naked mother for 4 or 5 years, is going to go to college, is going to go out into the real world and may not understand the boundaries that are correct or incorrect, right? Yeah. Like, what if she goes to a sleepover and is like, let's go to bed?
Yeah, doesn't even realize how deeply effed that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a
it sounds like it does, right? Because she posted the advice.
Yeah, good job being mentally healthy and sane enough to recognize it's a problem, while your mom obviously did not supply that information.
Exactly.
But if you want us to talk about your advice question, you can reach out to us at advice@thegoodnightshop.com, and you may hear your question posed on a future episode.
Absolutely. And your anonymity will be safe with us. We will not share your name. We will not share anything other than the situation and the advice that we have for you.
Absolutely. Agreed. Yeah. Agreed. All right, let's roll the dice.
Yes.
We are going to do the Topic Bowl. Topic Bowl is, again, really exactly as it sounds. It's a big bowl of topics that we have accumulated, and that you can send in your topic, or guests can provide. Our friends and family have provided us some, and we pick a couple out each week and cover those.
As long as the die lands on the topic bowl. So if you want to interact with us, please share what topics you'd like us to talk about. Remember, this is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be kind of like the Seinfeld of podcast, right? We just talk a little bit about everything. It's not meant to be super serious. It's not meant to be divisive or exclusive. So, you want us to talk about cheese? Put it in the comment section. We'll talk about cheese. You want us to talk about socks? Put it in the comment section, and we will absolutely talk about that.
Absolutely. Awesome.
All
right. You want to kick us off?
I can kick us off. today I have, it's more, instead of a topic bowl, it's a would you rather.
Oh, I have one of those too.
Yes?
Yes. Okay.
Mountains or beach?
Oh, I think everybody in my entire life could scream the answer for me.
I knew the answer as I was saying it.
I absolutely beach. Beach, hands down. The sand, the ocean, the sounds, the smell, it is the best thing. The best thing. I am married to somebody who would say mountains. So I also have a very big respect for mountains. I love the mountains. We actually go up to northern Georgia all the time and go
Camping.
and grab a rental. Yes, absolutely. Love all of that. But beach. And I am such a sun babe. Love laying out in the sun and reading.
With your sunblock.
I was just about to say, always make sure you have your sunblock on. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Nothing ages you quicker than the sun. It's a double whammy sword there. But I don't know if you can already see my awesome watch tan coming along. Trying to keep it off for a few days so I can catch that back up because it's not even May yet. So that's not a good look. But absolutely the beach. Every year, I try to make it to the beach every year for sure. I wish I lived. I am currently trying to make my way down to Florida so that I can live near a beach. I would love to be within 30 minutes of a beach, and I would go every day. Every day. What about you?
So even as I was deciding to bring this up, I was like, I do love the mountains, right? So for a lot of people, you may not know, but Puerto Rico is actually 60% or more mountainous, right? So we kind of get
Not what you expect.
I know. You get the best of both worlds. You have the ocean and you have the sea and then you have the mountains, and I love the mountains. I love hiking. I love camping. Backpacking. I mean, you name it. I want to be in nature. But I'm an ocean girl.
Yeah?
I'm a beach girl through and through. Yes.
Okay, because I was really, when I asked, I really was 50-50 on which one you would take.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, I am. And I realize it more and more because it's like you said, the mountains are beautiful. I think they are one of the most beautiful. I don't even know what to say, right? They're just beautiful.
They are.
But
They're
the
incredible.
beach is so diverse, right? Like, we can go get a boat. We can go scuba diving. We could go snorkeling. We could go just lay out for the day at the beach.
That is one of my favorite things about it too. I love the ocean as well. Like when I say beach, absolutely lake. I will lake day it for sure. But I love the ocean as well. Like going out on a boat, going out diving, snorkeling. I love it. Sea life. I love sea life. Absolutely love sea life. Aquariums. But there is nothing in this entire world. There is nothing that calms my mind as much as being in a reef and snorkeling or diving, and you are watching all of the fish and the reef sharks and the crabs and just even the coral itself. My entire mind goes quiet, and I cannot think of another single activity in my life that does that. So I think that is why I crave it so much every year. Like when I think of vacation, I'm like, yes, I want to go diving. I want to go snorkeling. I want to be on the beach. I think even just chilling in the sand knowing, oh my gosh, my fishies are right there if I need them.
I was going to say, it's funny because hearing you describe why you like the ocean as much as you do, you'd think I like the forest more. Because when I go hiking, so I live by the Ocala forest, and if I go hiking, I completely disconnect, right? Like anybody and everybody that knows me is always like, you're going to be one of those people that goes missing in the forest.
Okay, so are you a true crime fan?
Me?
Yes.
So my wife is, so I watch all of them, yes.
And this is why she likes the forest. Because nobody who likes true crime is like, yes, I feel safe in the forest.
I do. I feel so at peace in the forest. I will tell you, though.
Nothing good's happening in the forest.
There's so many good things happening in the forest. I will tell you. So I went hiking with Reese. Reese is my dog. We went recently, and
you went recently with Reese?
I went.
Okay.
I know. I was like,
right.
So we went hiking, and the bugs were
Ooh.
chirping so loudly that it was almost deafening. And it was just her and I. There was no one else. There was no one in the parking lot. So I knew the trail was going to be just the two of us. And all of a sudden, complete silence. I did walk a little faster after that. I was like...
Y'all, the Ocala forest is haunted.
It is. It is. But it's fantastic.
Multiple
and
red
it's absolutely
flags.
beautiful. It is huge. If you look it up in a map, it goes all the way up to Daytona Beach. And then I think it goes actually all the way down to like the Sarasota, not South Florida, but a little bit further south than Tampa. And it's just absolutely breathtaking. And I love it. However, in the Ocala Forest and you have Silver Springs, and there's a ton of different kayaking routes around there. I think I'm just a water baby.
Yeah. See, me too.
That's what I am.
Me too.
That I'm a water baby. So
Yeah.
if I can go kayaking in the river, if I can go whitewater rafting, if I can be on a sailboat.
Even my hikes, I think, if I can go hiking and there's a waterfall or I can hike along the river, I'm going to enjoy the hike more. Like I will hike. I like hiking, but I don't love it the way my husband loves it. But water.
No one likes it the way her husband likes it.
I know. See, and he's a mountain guy. He's a mountain man. He
He was a trailblazer at a point in his life.
He was. He did create trails.
That's an actual job.
Yeah.
I
don't think the title was Trailblazer. I think in his mind he wished the title was Trailblazer.
I did not know that. I thought he had a tag that said Donovan the Trailblazer.
I mean, he probably made himself one. He made
I can
himself
see that.
one. But I don't think on his resume it's listed as Trailblazer. But yeah, from Colorado, and I mean any freaking guy from Colorado is outdoorsy. Mountain man.
It's like Donovan, Colorado men.
I know.
And then other people who think they like.
He's next level. He's next level.
He's our hobbit.
He's absolutely a freaking hobbit.
He
like
is. He's
does
a
not
hobbit.
wear shoes.
Yeah.
I'm always so embarrassed walking around the neighborhood when we go walk the dogs because he doesn't wear shoes and he doesn't think it's a problem. And it's hilarious.
His
like
feet are the shoe.
Yeah, absolutely has freaking hobbit feet. And he, like little kids, being little kids, they'll come up to us. They'll be like, "Why aren't you wearing shoes?" Because I know all of the adults are thinking it, but no one says anything. So I'm just like, I love that the kids are like, "Why aren't you wearing any shoes?"
It happens. It happens. Now, just because we're in the mountain beach topic, have you ever watched the movie with Reese Witherspoon, Wild?
No.
Fantastic.
Really?
Absolutely fantastic. I thought she was...
I'm not even sure I've heard of it.
Oh, she was incredible. I don't know if she won awards for it, but she should have.
I'll write it down.
So it's Wild, Reese Witherspoon, and it's a true story.
Oh.
It was a woman who went through some traumatic stuff in her life, and to kind of find herself, she decides to...
do the Appalachian?
She does the PCT, so the Pacific Crest Trail, which goes from Mexico all the way up to Canada. And it starts at the very beginning when she's getting her backpack together and she's putting it on, and then the movie is her going through the PCT. And
I bet that's phenomenal.
Oh my God. I watched that movie when it first came out, and I was absolutely decided that I needed to do the PCT.
Yeah?
Oh my God. It would be if I could ask our work to give me 3 to 4 months off, which would never happen. Never. But you don't
know if you don't ask.
That's true. That's true. But very likely gonna be no. But I would love to do it from the bottom in Mexico and do it all the way up to Canada.
Wow.
I think it would be such... I would feel like I overcame so much to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's going to be hot. It's going to be uncomfortable. Right? But you even see it, and obviously it's a remake of the movie, but it's based on the book of the person that actually went through the experiences. And there's this part where, she's been going through the desert for a while, and now she's getting to the mountains that she's going to have to go through. And she's looking at it with, like, her monster backpack, and she's like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And she finally, like, figures out how she's going to climb the rock, and she throws the backpack over, and she looks back, and she's like, I did that.
Aw.
I was able to like climb that big rock and like make it. And so I think that being able to do that entire trek would just be such a, just, I don't even know what the word is, like a self-valuating, like, I did that.
I mean, yeah, the accomplishment you would feel, right?
Yes, the self-confidence that it would build, like, oh, I can do anything.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think I'd be able to get this done, and I did it.
Yeah.
I got it done.
How long does it take?
About 3 months.
Oh, you said that. Sorry, 3
No,
months.
yeah,
Okay.
that's why I said 4 months off work, because
Right, I mean,
think
we're
I
not-
need a
we're
whole
not
month
jogging.
to recover. Exactly. And in the movie, you know, she's by herself most of the time, but she'll interact with different people that are also going through the trails.
Right, yeah, that's such a thing. Through, like, on those through trails, you kind of, like, run into, like, groups of people.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, randomly make camp together that night and stuff, yeah.
Exactly. And so, you know, as is life, she will compare herself to the people that are, you know, natural hikers and people that are like naturally athletic and, you know, they have barely any equipment and they're just like, you know, just rushing right through the track, whereas she's struggling to get through it. And then you learn throughout the movie that some of those most athletic people gave up.
Yeah.
They couldn't do it and she did, right?
Yeah.
And so I would like to think in my, you know, courageous heart that I would get through it.
Okay,
Right.
I'm in. I'll do it with you.
So I would love to do the PCT. I am sure that if Donovan is listening to us, he's over there like, he's starting to Google some stuff.
Yeah, he would do it.
To
He would
figure
do
it
it.
out for us.
I think the 4 of us could do it.
I think so too. Corey would be so good at it too.
Yeah.
So as long as I give her a really nice luxury vacation on the back end of it, where I'm
Same.
like, thank you for doing this with me, I think
Right.
she'd be down. It was actually one of the first things I mentioned to her, where she was like, yeah, I'll do it with you. And I knew instantly that she was my partner for life, because I was like, this is a big thing. And she like really considered it, really thought it through. And she was like, if that's something that's important to you, like, I'm willing to do it with you. And I was like,
love it. How sweet.
I was like, I'm going to marry you.
Oh my God.
Now, on the other end of that is retirement. And I would love to spend a chunk of my retirement sailing the world.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah. Another huge synchronicity for us.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know. That's like, just like with Corey, I was like, this is my person. When you were like, oh, I want to sail the world, I was like, this is my friend.
Yes, absolutely.
For
I want to
life.
sail the world. Absolutely. I want to take one of those sailing trips that 3 people have done or whatever, you know, like, oh my gosh.
Where you go and you just follow, right? It's called the double loop, and you just follow the shore of, you know, all the countries. I think that would be spectacular.
Phenomenal. Yeah,
Oh my
absolutely. God. That is on my 2023-2024 list, is learning to sail. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
When we get her down to Florida, we're going to start taking some sailing lessons.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Oh my gosh, so high on the list. I had a topic that is so weirdly tied into all of this.
Love it.
Talking about synchronicities. But, and I know we could both probably go on forever. So I was going to say, what are your top 3 bucket list items? And
So you just heard 2.
I was going to say, I think 2 because sailing is one of mine as well.
Yes.
So what's your 3rd?
So this one is, it's like one of those things, you know, like when you hear your parents talk about something they wish they'd always done or still are hoping to do. For my dad is El Camino de Santiago, which is very similar to the PCT, but it's in Spain.
Oh.
I may need to check that, but I'm pretty sure it's in Spain.
I'd be down for that one.
And it's a 30-day one.
Oh, I'm way more down for that one. Why don't you take Corey for the other one, and I'll do the Spain one.
Can you see this already? Oh, we haven't even started. She already quit on me.
I mean, 3 months is a long time with my thoughts.
And that's what it is.
Yeah,
That's
the
exactly
hardest
what it is.
part,
That-
right? The
you gotta
solo
watch that
time.
movie.
I'm gonna have to watch.
You
that
gotta watch
movie.
that
I'm
movie.
gonna have to watch
It's
that
so
movie.
fantastic.
Reese, I'm so proud you made it.
Reese Witherspoon. I thought that too. I was like, man, I wonder if she like did it. We'll have to Google that. She probably didn't.
She did not.
She didn't.
She did not.
Even the scene that meant so much to me probably didn't.
She didn't.
She
She got
Somebody-
plugged in, wired up over that rock.
I refuse to believe that. Reese Witherspoon is a champion.
She is America's hero.
You know?
God, she's adorable.
Legally Blonde.
She is have you seen the show that she does with Jennifer Aniston? I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, Morning Show or something, right? Show. Jennifer Aniston is my favorite actress. I love her. Okay. I love her.
I do too. I like her a lot.
A weird amount. I love her. I mean, she is perfection. And her and Reese together are the cutest.
Yeah?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like, they post all the time on Instagram these, like, cute little things, like photos or reels with them together. I mean, they're just adorable. Show. Oh, I don't see the show either!
We're sure it's a fantastic show.
I don't know how the show is, but I'm just saying those two together as individuals are adorable.
I could see
They're adorable. And Reese is so little.
Oh, and I love that they have all this history, right? Because Reese was her sister in Friends.
Oh my gosh, I know. That's what I'm saying. They've known each other for years, and they're just so adorable.
I love it. I think I also really just like Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think she's a boss.
Yeah.
She felt like there weren't enough good opportunities for women, so she created her own production company, and then she sold her production company for hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and I am all about a boss babe.
I was just about to say, boss ass babe, making it work, making her own way. I love it.
And the fact that she brought all her girlfriends with her, you know, and not just young women, which is fantastic. Young women need opportunity as well, but she brought in all the ladies in Hollywood, and I think that's a power move that we want to see over and over and over again. All different kinds of ladies, all different kinds of ages, but just empowered women empower women, and I think that Reese Witherspoon is an example of that. And I hope that I never read an article that contradicts that.
Oh, same. Those are always so devastating when you, like, really love somebody and then you're like, they are a pedophile or whatever, and you're like, why?
I know. Like, I've been watching you my whole life.
Right. Okay, side tangent on that, though. Viola Davis is phenomenal. Have you seen The Woman King?
I haven't.
Oh my gosh, you have got. If I'll watch Wild, you watch The Woman King.
I have it in my watch list.
Such a good movie. I mean, such a good movie.
So movies are probably going to be a topic all on their own at some point. But when I was younger, I used to love watching all the movies.
Yeah.
The sadder, the deeper, the more angst I felt, the more satisfied I felt.
Yeah.
And then this one movie came out, and I watched it, and
Which was?
Atonement with Keira Knightley and James McAvoy. And it messed me up. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, and I couldn't finish it.
I remember telling my mother for years, like, oh, why don't you come watch this movie? We lived right next to a movie theater that had, like, $5 movies.
Oh, best. I remember $5 Tuesdays.
So we used to go all the time. Like, that was, like, we're a big movie family. And I'd be like, come watch this movie. And she'd be like, oh, I'm not going to go to the movies to be sad. And I didn't understand that feeling.
I 100% know where you're going with it.
And then I watched that movie, and I went home and told her about the movie. I couldn't even get the words out of my mouth because I would just start bawling, and my mother was like, why do you do this to yourself?
Yeah.
Cut to now.
Yeah.
When I think a movie's gonna be really deep or, like, really angsty, it takes me a long time to convince myself to watch it, because I'm like, the world's already heavy enough. Yes. Life is already hard enough.
Yes.
So, like, why am I going to put myself through that? Yes. I'd rather watch a comedy. Give me an action movie or a spy movie any day. Any day. I will literally sit there and watch 4 spy movies, one after the other.
So I knew what you were going to say before you said all this, and I knew exactly where you were going, and I relate 100%. Like, I used to love the sad movies. I would sit and watch all of them, and I would cry, but now as an adult, like, oh my God, you're exactly right. The world is so heavy. There's so much crap going on that I mean, Donovan and I will have to, like, spend like, making sure we find a movie that's, like, not gonna make me cry. And or action. Action is a good call. Action is a good call, because you really have to mentally, because I think the difference is as you get older, you have more life experiences. And so all of a sudden, these movies that were sad, now where you're like, I could see that happening to myself.
Oh my
or
God.
that reminds me of something that has happened to myself. And it's much harder to remove yourself from the situation and pull yourself back out of now those feelings, right? Like, and so and I've shared on another episode, like I recently have lost my dad, like within the last 6 months. So Donovan and I trying to find a movie that does not mention parents or cancer or like anything. It is so hard. And cancer is a huge storyline. Once you are paying attention, once you've been through it, you realize it's in every TV show. It's in every movie. It is a storyline done over and over and over again. So it is really hard to find content that doesn't go through that. So yeah, it is absolutely, I know what you mean. Like you have to really mentally prepare and be like, okay, are we ready to commit to the next 6 hours of me sobbing on the couch, cuddling my dog? Then turn the movie on.
You know what's wild though? I know other people. Let me, I was thinking and now I went. Okay. Now we're back. So when I was younger, I would watch like forever will be one of my favorite movies. I don't care what anybody says. Armageddon.
Oh, okay. Classic. Yeah. Love it.
Love it. I could watch movies like that all day, every day.
Funny enough, my dad and I love that movie. We watched that all together.
Isn't it fantastic?
Yes,
it's such a good movie. Such a good movie. However, I am the target audience for every sad movie, every sad moment in a comedy, any sad ad. You got me. I'm crying.
Right.
Like, I'm a crier.
Same.
If you had a camera and anything was happening, like, as soon as the music starts picking up, as soon as the whatever is being revealed, even if I have excellent pattern recognition and probably already guessed everything that's going to happen in the movie, I am, without a doubt, crying. Right? My wife will go. I already know. She knows I'm crying.
Yes.
However, on the flip side, which is what I started saying, there are people that don't allow themselves to feel the range of emotions throughout the day, whereas I allow myself to feel everything all day, every day.
Yes.
And so when I watch a movie, I'm gonna feel it all.
Yeah.
It's gonna come to me like a freaking train, and so I don't want it. But there are people who kind of repress their feelings or are a little more put together in that sense, and they use these super sad, super angsty movies to allow that release of emotions.
So that is Donovan.
That's
so
my
again,
wife.
I figured you were going there because I was going to bring up on the flip, I travel for work, and so I will come home and he's in the middle of this movie or whatever, and I'll see him like tearing up. And I'll be like, why are you doing this to yourself? And he'll be like, oh, it's so good. It teaches me emotions. It teaches me how I'm supposed to feel.
Like it lets me get it out.
It lets me cry. And so only recently, I would say in the last couple of years, we've been together for 13 years now. So only recently in the last couple of years will he sit and cry at a movie or a TV show or get teared up at something. And again, I know a lot of that is all the experiences we've had recently, but he is absolutely one of those people that will have it all pent up and everything. So he likes movies that trigger emotion. He likes feeling something. And then he always, I mean, my husband's a fucking hoot, but he will watch something like that and I'll be like, why are you want to watch something to make you sad? And then he just looks at me and goes, feelings. And then I'm like, okay, that's all right. He needs to feel.
That's the beauty of movies, is you can always find something that's gonna fit.
It's like music, right? Like you can absolutely, I can have songs that will make me cry, or I will have ones that are make me smile when I'm already crying. Like it's amazing how that stuff can really impact your mood.
Absolutely.
If all of you are crying listening to us right now,
we have a great playlist for you that's gonna bring your spirits back up.
That's right.
So I used to be like that with music. So when I was in high school, you could tell me whatever you were feeling, and I'd be like, I have a song for you.
Oh, I love
that. And 9 times out of 10, it's a sad song.
Yeah.
They just gave me such satisfaction. Mm-hmm. Now as an adult, I'm going to choose Lizzo all day, every day.
I remember walking to school walking to school in the mornings, and my sister and I both had our iPods, our little shuffles that we had gotten for Christmas. And I remember we'd always be like, what are you listening to? And she one day said to me, why do you always listen to the saddest songs?
I can't tell you how many people would be like, take her iPod off. Like, you know, you'd connect the iPod to the car and it'd be like, oh my God, this must be Alex's iPod. It's so sad.
Sad songs. Sad songs. Maybe we're just burnt ourselves out.
Right? And now we're just like, done.
Be like, no,
Done.
just give me all the joy. I just want to absorb all the joy now. Like, I'm over being sad. Oh my gosh.
Agreed.
Dude, okay. So those are your 3 bucket list items.
I literally was like, what was the topic? Right. Okay.
So those were your bucket list. So, anyway, so
what are your bucket list items?
yes, my bucket list items. So the first one is sailing. I want to sail around the world. I don't know what that means yet, right? Like, I don't know if that means I'm going to make it from Florida to Mexico and I'm going to be like, I made it in the world. You know, I don't know yet. I don't know the path. But I want to sail. I want to learn how to sail, and I want to be able to sail by myself. Like, I want to be able to charter a sailboat. My second one, and this is what cracks me up when you said if we could get 3 to 4 months off of work, is I immediately thought I have always wanted to do The Amazing Race. I have always wanted to do The Amazing Race. I mean, I want to do it so bad. My dad and I, again, used to talk about it all the time. And
I'll sign up.
Oh my God, I think we would be good.
I think 100%. And if it could be the 4 of us, we call ourselves CODA for our acronym.
Our spouses
as well. If it could be the 4 of us.
Oh, Team CODA.
Done.
Do they do teams of 4, or you mean 2 and 2 on the same season?
No, none of that. I want us to be a team.
Us 2?
Us 4.
That's what I'm saying. Do they ever do teams of 4?
They're gonna for us.
Okay.
They're gonna for us.
The Amazing Race, are you listening?
If
you ever do teams of 4, CODA needs in.
CODA is in.
I do think we are, because we have so many similarities, and our spouses have so many similarities. And then there's also this weird cross reference where you and Donovan, or me and Corey, can also have a lot of similarities. Like, the 4 of us really
we
work.
mesh.
We really work great. So I do think between all of our strengths, hands down, we would win.
We would win.
I mean, we are so competitive
that
our spouses might chuck us off the buildings that we're supposed to be jumping from. But
I already am excited about winning.
Me too, but I want to win, but I want to beat the records. I want to, like, have the most number 1 places. I want to have, you know how, like,
I do.
There are records of couples who have, like, come in first place the most throughout the whole season.
Because you have to what is Amazing Race?
So this is why you are my diehard, because you're like, I'm in, and that's like me with the trail.
Like, let's go.
I'm like, I'm in. I don't know what it is, but I'll be there with my backpack.
So funny.
There's every leg of the race. You come, like, I don't know how many couples start. 20. We'll say 20 couples start. And so every leg.
Let's not couple couples. Groups. Because we're a group of 4.
Okay, but so far that has never existed.
Maybe it does.
Okay. But anyway, every leg has a winner, and every leg has a loser. And the loser, sometimes there's, like, wrenches thrown in the plan. But the person who comes in last place, each leg gets cut, and eventually it dwindles down.
Okay.
So there are records for the show for who has come. Like, let's say whoever wins.
Oh, I'd want to be first every time.
Every time. That's what I'm saying. They have records like, oh, the so-and-so came in first 7 times throughout that season. That's the record. And even though you don't have to, you only need to win the last one, I want to beat the records.
Okay. I mean, I'm super competitive, so I would be down for that.
Yeah. So, love that. So that would be my second bucket list item. Absolutely. Hands down.
Add it to mine.
Okay, perfect. And then my third one, God, there's so many, but I think I'm going to throw a little odd one in here. I think my third one would be to learn Spanish.
Oh, see, when you said bucket list, I thought traveling, which is why I did the PCT.
I see, and it's so hard. It can't, for so many people, it's travel.
That's true.
For so many people, it's travel. I have so many travels on my bucket list. It's hard, but I think about my current life and the top 3 things I want to do, and these are the top 3. And learning Spanish is, again, on my 2023-2024 list, where instead of doing the, I don't know, though. I've heard really good things about Babbel. Maybe I will try Babbel, or whatever the other one is, Rosetta Stone. But I'm wondering if I would be better off going to classes and, like, actually sitting with a teacher, because I'm absolutely more that type of learner rather than being self-motivated.
Girl, I speak Spanish. What are you
I know,
talking
but
about?
like, what are we gonna do? I'm gonna be like, okay, today we're gonna learn numbers.
I'm only gonna speak to you in Spanish from now on.
It's gonna be a long podcast.
The podcast just changed
to Espanol.
to Espanol.
Okay, really funny side story though. Because she's very pale. And
when you said earlier something about like you tanning, I was like, I will never have tan lines.
But she is from Puerto Rico. And I remember we went down to Mexico together, and this guy, and don't worry, Corey, I didn't let him hit on her for long, but he was like, oh, you speak Spanish beautifully. And she's like, yeah, it was my first language. Like, these people, because
this
you
was
don't
the bartender,
think that.
wasn't it?
No, it was this guy getting a drink at the same time as us. The bartender separately said, you speak it beautifully or whatever, but
he was like, oh, you speak good Spanish.
Yeah.
I was like,
you're like, yeah, I better. So those would be my three bucket list items. More to come on if Alex teaches me Spanish.
Yeah. I want to add another one. I would love to go scuba diving or deep diving or whatever
The version.
Oh,
where?
With are they called whale sharks?
Oh,
the ones
whale
that have
sharks?
the big mouth.
Yes, whale sharks. You know, Donovan's done that.
I know.
Yeah.
I want to do it so bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would feel like a mermaid, which
you don't though.
You don't?
No. Just because of no. So, in the Atlanta aquarium, there are 3 whale sharks, and you can dive with them. I almost think that would be better just because of the
like you're
how
limited.
far you can see.
Okay.
Because the way, at least for Donovan's experience, and I know so much of it is like when in the season you go, but for Donovan, when he went, and they did say, they're like, yeah, unfortunately, this is kind of the norm. The water was so murky. And the reason they were there is because of the murky water. Like, that's kicking up all the plankton and everything that they're eating. And that's why there were so many of them. He's like, so you almost couldn't see them until they were literally a couple of feet. And all of a sudden you have this huge ass whale shark coming towards you in the dark water that you're like... And then the other thing he said is like...
That would scare. That'd be a little scary.
That'd be so scary. The nice thing is they can't eat you. They can't, like, literally their throats cannot swallow you. So, like, they will sometimes, like, suck a fin in, like one of your fins. But you can just pull it back out because it can't get in their esophagus. Like, literally, it's too small.
Okay.
So there's some comfort that if you go in there, you can be Pinocchio for, like, 30 seconds and then pop back out, you know?
I was more thinking, like, what if you thought it was a whale shark and it was a different kind of shark?
Yeah, you dead.
You dead. You don't even get time to be scared.
No.
You dead.
You're dead. Yeah. So, but the other thing he said is, like, they're so big, and so from far away, they look like they're moving. They, you know, like, they're so graceful and so slow. But when you're in the water with them, you realize they're so fast, and they are moving so fast. And so he said you really have to, like, swim with all your freaking might just to, like, catch up to be like, there it is! And then, like, it's gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, you watch all those, like, Instagram reels, and you see the people deep diving, and they're like...
I know.
Like, they're like mermaids, and the whale is like... And I'm just like... That's what I think of, which... Let's be clear, I understand is completely wrong. But when I imagine living on a sailboat... Yeah. I'm like, oh, look,
Diving in with the whales.
Man.
And, like... We're gonna go on a sailboat and get killed in, like, the first 2 days.
No. We're gonna be good about it. I also would love. So I want to finish getting scuba certified. I want to learn how to sail, and I want to get my pilot license. As a student, I think those are the 3 things I'd like to learn more.
I can't. We have the weirdest. I was just talking to my mother-in-law about this, and both Donovan and I were both like, "Oh, maybe we'll get our pilot license."
Really?
Yes.
I've been telling Corey that I want to get my pilot license for a while now.
You have to be rich. This stuff's expensive.
So expensive.
So expensive. All of it is so expensive.
So expensive. But like
we'll save.
We'll budget. We'll budget for our dreams. But then you can do the intro classes. Like a lot of the flight schools have intro classes where like for $90 you can go up with them.
And then we could do a timeshare for a plane, so we could have like a small little plane that the 4 of us timeshare.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it.
I also heard that you can do that with boats. So when we get to South Florida, we are going to look at a marina that you can rent.
I love it. I love all of it. We'll take our
new friends with us.
We'll take our plane to the marina. And yeah, you're welcome to come along for all of it.
For all of it.
Which brings us to, if you want to follow us along more and see more of our adventures where we're diving and speaking Spanish and learning to fly a plane, you can find us at the Goodnight Shop on Instagram or follow along with our Music Minute Spotify playlist at the Goodnight Shop.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again.
See you next time.